the battery tonight. A look at the managers this evening. Freddie Gonzalez and the Marlins, 76 and 68. Tony La Russa at his club, 25 games above 500 at 85 and 60. Game number 146 tonight, and here's our dominoes. First pitch of the game. And it's a strike on the outside corner to Coghlan, who's hitting .307 with 9 home runs and 42 RBIs. Home plate umpire Chris Guccione. Misses on the inside corner, and a late scratch in this lineup for Tony La Russa. As you see the numbers on Coghlan. Unfortunately, Brendan Ryan not in the lineup initially scheduled to play.
Jammed his pinky the other day going back into first base.
That hit Coghlan, then it caught YADIER Molina. We're going to say it's a swing and a foul tip. There's a look at Brendan Ryan.
He's vowing to be back in that lineup tomorrow, but let's see the swing and then let's see where it didn't make contact, where the ball just kind of.
So no foul tip, but a swing, and then it hit him.
Right. And it hit YADIER, who is as tough as can be. He's caught more innings than any National League catcher.
You don't see that every day.
No.
But you have seen it before. 1-2 pitch. And there's that curveball. Devastating, as Al said a few moments ago. And the first out recorded here in the first inning.
Wainwright 6th in the National League in strikeouts. Definitely a Cy Young candidate. And with a win here tonight, the game's first 19-game winner, he'd be padding that resume.
It'd be hard to look past all the wins that he's piled up.
That's right, and he will pass, with a couple innings of work here tonight, he will pass Lincecum for the most innings pitched in the National League.
Lincecum is now 9-1 at home. He won last night and struck out 10+ again. He's done that 9 times this year.
Mentioned that Wainwright's 6th in the National League, but no one is going to catch Lincecum. You know, he's about 250 right now.
It is odd to see this very good ERA, and yet just about a 500 record at home for Wainwright, but on the road 11 wins this year.
That's right, Adam. And it's very deceiving. One thing that's going to hurt him is he's gotten the most run support. But it's a deceiving stat for a guy that's only 1 game over 500 with a 1.85 ERA. And then you say, as a higher ERA, about 1.5 more on the road, and he's only lost 1 game, 11-1.
2-1 pitch is hit out of play. Nick Johnson homered last night, a 2-run shot. And there's a look at the ERA National League leaders. Lincecum 2.30. Carpenter roughed up in just 1 inning on Sunday. His average has jumped to 2.45, and then Wainwright there. Matt Cain and Happ all in the top 5. 2-2 pitch to Johnson.
You saw there the top 4 ERA leaders in the National League come from 2 teams, the Cardinals and the Giants.
And 2 teams that very well could find themselves in postseason play. That was a huge win for San Francisco last night. In many ways, a must-win for them as time is starting to run out. 3-2. Curveball just missed a little bit low.
And they closed the gap in the wild card race. The Giants did with that victory. They now trail Colorado by 3.5.
You saw Wainwright have that amazing stretch of 26 starts in a row of working at least 6 innings. And that was snapped 2 starts ago against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Went 5 innings in that game, and oddly enough, he picked up the win.
Yes, you know, but it's sometimes how things go. Is had that 1 bad inning, and then his team came back and gave him a lot of run support, and ultimately made him the winner with just 5 innings of pitching.
And the Ramirez, you talked about it yesterday, dealing with the flu, and this could be a double play ball. Lugo, Schumaker, double play, 6-4-3. Cardinals coming up in their half of the first. Cardinals start play today with a 9.5 game lead in front of Chicago. The magic number sits at 10. And the Cubs are playing Milwaukee tonight. Schumaker, Lugo, and Pujols for the Cardinals here in the first inning. Then Holliday, Ludwig, DeRosa, Molina, Ankiel, and Wainwright round out the lineup for St. Louis. Here's Sean West, a record of 6-5. And he talked about it, Al. He's our Marshall Wireless starter. He struggles for whatever reason. Lefty against lefty. The lefties have actually hit him very well.
354 against this 6'8" rookie pitcher, making his 18th career start and appearance at the major league level. Cardinals' first look at him.
Wouldn't be surprising if the Cardinals would try to bunt against this big man. Apparently he's not a great fielder, doesn't move all that well.
That's right, and he really kind of falls off to the third base side a little bit. He's big, slow, cumbersome, and does not field his position. Made a couple errors, and that is something to think about.
And a swing and a miss, and Skip strikes out to start things off for the Redbirds. And the defense behind West tonight for the Florida Marlins. Coughlin, Maben, and Ross out there. Cantu, Ramirez, Ugla, and Nick Johnson. And the battery, Ronnie Paulino and Sean West. Marlins defense presented by Auto Tire. I want to remind folks that tomorrow is a afternoon game at 1:15, and we're on the air tomorrow at 12:30. So business person special tomorrow at 1:15.
You talk about West and why left-handers struggle so much. It's the slider. Excuse me, that the lefty batters really have hit him so well is because most of the time he doesn't get a batter to chase like Schumaker did with the slider.
On the inside corner, 0-2 on Lugo.
93 miles an hour there, where they really say he's more like 88 to 90, and occasionally we'll get one in 93, 94. But the slider is more effective to the right-handed batters because it's coming in on them, and many times they jam themselves.
0-2 on Julio Lugo. Check swing and a strikeout of Julio Lugo. So 2 up, 2 down, and it brings in Albert Pujols. 6 straight strikes to start the game.
That's something that's surprising, but you see right now you've got 2 batters struck out on pitches in the dirt. The same thing, that slider. Albert doubtful that he will fall victim to a pitch like that, as he just second in the batting average, chasing the Triple Crown. Doubtful he catches Hanley, Ramirez in the batting race, but very likely the home runs and RBIs.
Now Pujols quietly has already set another mark, 42 intentional walks before tonight's game, so that eclipsed the major league record for right-handed batters. Sammy Sosa had 37 in 2001. Well hit center, and that ball is off the top of the wall. An absolute rocket off the bat of Pujols. My goodness. He's a line drive hitter that happens to hit a lot of home runs. Is that fair to say?
Hal McRae has described it in a similar fashion, but he said he's a high average hitter that has power. And here's an indication. Adds to his 330 batting average. Just a rocket. Misses a home run by about 3 feet. Gets by Maben. Albert thought about going to third, but he'll pull up at second with another double and put one more on that list, as he's third in the Cardinals all-time list. Last week he passed Ducky Medwick.
Unbelievable, that shot off the bat of Pujols.
And how McRae described Albert Pujols, he said the same thing about Holliday. A high average hitter with power.
So 2 outs and a runner at second base for Matt Holliday. Holliday delivered early in the ball game last night with a single that scored 2. He now has 48 driven in this year. 48 RBIs with the Cardinals.
With the Cardinals, and overall he's gone 102 RBIs. So as we talk about Wainwright and Carpenter, what a dynamic punch. You could say the same about Pujols and Holliday.
Mark Teixeira was the big bat in the offseason last year, and certainly Holliday will be one of the big bats this year with free agency upcoming. And if teams like Boston and the Mets or Yankees get involved, you know the numbers would be very high, and probably out of any position the Cardinals would want to go to. But there is the comfort level that he does have here in St. Louis. There's a 1-1 pitch to Holliday. And you know the Cardinals would love to keep him.
I think if he goes for the highest dollar, there's no way the Cardinals. But if he goes for the comfort zone, he's from Stillwater, Oklahoma, loves playing in the Midwest, and I think that's where the being traded to Oakland, playing for Oakland and not being the same experience helps the Cardinals.
The Cardinals not very good swings on that breaking pitch from West as he strikes out the side. Will feature dogs or cats in Cardinals Live. It's been cats primarily, or rather dogs, and it has been the cat helping us with the dogs. It's one of the previous dogs that was picked up. It's Trevor Miller. He helped us out. And Jim Hayes introduces us to one of these adoptable pets. And for more information, visit PetSmartCharities.org. And apparently tomorrow, we're going to meet a dog named Hank.
Hank, huh?
Hank. Hank will be with us tomorrow.
Skip Schumaker is going to help us out with that, Dan.
That was Jim out of nowhere.
Gee, he's magical, isn't he?
Jim, you've enjoyed doing these adoptable segments, haven't you?
I really have. The main thing is that some of the dogs, one of the dogs we just showed briefly was in a shelter for a year and got adopted about a week later thanks to the folks that saw him on the pregame and during the telecast. So that makes you feel good. The Cardinal players have been great helping us, show these dogs, and they've been on board with it. So it's been good all the way around. PetSmart and Purina have graciously helped us get this done.
And that's Cantu with a base hit. And you were telling us the other day, Hawksworth has adopted one of those dogs, correct?
Yeah, Cockapoo. And that was a dog that was brought into the clubhouse by one of the players. And Blake Hawksworth was looking for a dog for his family and fell in love with this dog. So they do a background check. Blake passed, and he's getting the dog.
Wait a minute. A bullpenner has got a Cockapoo?
A lot of these guys that you wouldn't expect, they usually have a big dog and a little dog. The big dog for the husband, little dog for the wife.
All right, Jim.
Thanks,
more of your
Jim.
insight is coming up in the third inning. Looking forward to it.
All right, guys.
And it's that's our big dog. We've adopted him during Cardinal baseball. really obedient too. That's fouled back.
Well, he highlighted Ugla and his struggles against Wainwright. Is 1 for 12 with 4 strikeouts, and he is an outstanding hitter.
A second baseman with 28 home runs.
Well, he's 4 consecutive seasons. He has 25 or more home runs.
1-2 the count. Wainwright got a double play to end the top of the first. Doesn't get the call there and doesn't miss by much. Always have fun with Jim Hayes. He'll be with us in the third inning. We'll go over some of the folks that he had on the pregame show.
Ugla became only the second baseman to record 20+ home runs each season through his first 4 major league campaigns, only joining Yankees Joe Gordon.
There's the curveball, and it's pulled foul.
Joe Gordon was accomplished that feat back in 1938 through 41, and then had a stint as a manager at the major league level. And memory serves us, one time he even managed the Royals.
2-2 the count. Now, in our feature that we had in the right before our first pitch, we talked about the big 3: Carpenter, Wainwright, and Pinheiro. It'd be tough to find 3 better than these guys.
That's right. You know, a lot of clubs may match up with, you know, as good or maybe not quite as good as Wainwright and Carpenter, but I can't find anybody that's going to match up as well as Carpenter, Wainwright, and Pinheiro. All 3 in the top 15 in ERA.
And those 3 have only 7 losses since the 1st of July. The Cardinals as a team, when they make those starts, only 7 losses with those 3. 3-2 pitch. Runner goes, swing and a miss, down to second, strike him out, throw him out.
Why run on YADIER Molina? Freddie Garcia has the utmost respect for the Cardinals catcher, and of course he's looking for Ugla to break out with his slump against Wainwright, but you can see just Schumaker almost has to wait too long. A lot of times that second baseman puts the tag down and he brings his hand up because he's waiting too long.
Here's the Exmo Cam presented by Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill. Lugo to his left and to first, not in time. So base hit for Ross, and it brings in Ronnie Paulino. Some organizations will even teach that play at second base with Skip Schumaker. As you see the effort here from Lugo, that if a throw beats a runner on any kind of play, to lift it before that runner even gets his feet near your glove, just in case he would knock it out of your glove.
Right. And that's where, you know, umpires kind of got, you know, they get in a little trouble kind of in the vicinity call, and then all of a sudden they'll, you know, be precise with it and say, well, you didn't tag me. Well, you've been letting me get away with it for 3 months, and then you make that call.
That pitch was up. Paulino a base hit. Runners at first and second. It brings in Maben, 8th place hitter. It's 2 base hits, or rather 3 base hits here in the second inning against Wainwright. Maben is hitting .225. 2 home runs, 7 RBIs.
Broke with the Marlins out of spring training, got off to a very slow start, sent him down to AAA, hit very well, .319 to lead his club at the AAA level, and then back up here again. But he's going to be a fixture for many years.
Great matchup tomorrow. The Cardinals will face Josh Johnson, who is 14-4. Pinheiro 14-10. Looking forward to that one.
Johnson, earlier in the season, a lot of people talked about him as a Cy Young candidate.
Good pitch by Wainwright. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, it looks like, Al, the Cardinals, if they do clinch the division, which we all assume that they will probably happen on the road.
More than likely. And it don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but we know it's going to happen. This club is not going to collapse. It's not going to be the 64 Phillies. It's not going to be. How about how close the Cardinals were to not reaching the playoffs back in 06 when they won the World Series?
Well, I emceed after that day, that game, that Saturday game, a function with Tony La Russa. I've never seen him more relieved than after Spezio got that triple. You can understand why.
Right. I mean, it seemed like that if the club would have played another week of regular season, they probably wouldn't have made it to the postseason. But that big triple that led to the victory. They were the wild card recipient that year, and they put everything together in postseason and won the Cardinals' 10th World Championship.
Here's a 2-2. Off the end of the bat and the foul ball. I talked to Tony the other day about the 06 team, and I said, what was it about it that made it all come together? And he said, well, we knew we had pretty good talent if we could just make that one run to put it together. You know, when you've got guys like Pujols and Roland and Edmonds, you've got a shot. And he was right. And
it seemed like they all got healthy. And they got to postseason. They caught a couple breaks, but there was no doubt the Cardinals pitched. They ran the bases. They played better defense, and they got the timely hitting to win those 11 wins, those magical 11 in postseason to get, the World Championship. And there's no doubt, and I'm sure Tony would have said too, but that 04 and 05 team were better than the 06 team, especially 04.
No doubt. And another foul ball.
Good to see him throw the fastball there, because sometimes it feels like Wainwright throws way too many breaking balls, and when you do that, you're going to hang a certain percentage.
2-2. There's that breaking ball, and he wins the battle against Maben. Ludwig, DeRosa, Molina, all coming up. There's no score. And take a photo at our Blues live set, then stay to watch the Blues take on the Stars. The first 3,000 fans get a Fox Sports Midwest Fan Fest shirt, and activities begin at 3. For more information, go to stlblues.com.
Hey, happy birthday to Sue Sinclair. John's lovely wife and much younger wife than John St. Clair.
Regina Peppenhorst is 100 today. She lives in Carlisle, Illinois, loves Cardinal baseball, and still watches us on Fox Sports Midwest.
Lori West had a birthday last week. He blew out 60 candles, and Tim O'Connor was his account exec and forgot to tell us.
And that's up and into Ludwig. 1 ball, 1 strike. Interesting that Tony La Russa dropped Ludwig last night into the 6th spot in the lineup and had Rasmus hitting ahead of Ludwig, which worked out.
Tried to break up the right-handed bats there a little bit. A little more balance to the lineup, and as you said, late in that game, Kobe hit the big 3-run home run, but he had 3 hits overall in the night.
Outside to Ludwig, who had a single and 2 RBIs in the ball game. And the count here, 3 balls and 1 strike, as West in the first inning struck out the side and also allowed a double to Pujols. Taken low and outside. First walk allowed by the big lefty. Here's Mike DeRosa. DeRosa hitting .235 with 8 home runs and 20 RBIs. And the overall marks, 21 homers. He's driven in 70. He was 1 for 5 last night. Here's a double play ball. Out at second. Double play. Visit the official online shop of the Cardinals at STLCardinals.com. Largest selection of authentic postseason caps, t-shirts, jerseys, and sweatshirts. And get your playoff gear straight from the source, STLCardinals.com. Shop today.
Redbird and I had a great time at Washington Montessori School here in St. Louis. And you and I were talking with the principal of St. Richard's Catholic School in Creve Coeur. They wanted Redbird to come out and visit them.
And people can take advantage of that. They can call
Absolutely.
the Cardinals.
Call the Cardinals, and it's an anti-drug message. Joe Cunningham started that program better than 20 years ago, and Joe still participates. Andy Bennis does some of the programs. I've been doing it for, I guess, about 10 years. Still forget it.
Base hit into right for Molina.
The majority of his hits, or so it seems, are out to right field, but really from center field on over, Molina is definitely going the opposite way. And we talked about how West has allowed left-handed batters a .354 average, and most of the time they say they do not swing at the pitch that Schumaker swung at and got himself out.
Sure, you noticed in that first inning those breaking balls, righties and the lefties.
Yeah, that's the slider where he has more success with it against the right-handed batters.
Just didn't seem real comfortable with those swings.
It just seemed like they didn't really pick up the ball.
Check on Molina over at first, and you wouldn't think Yadier's going anywhere, but then you look down and you see that he's among the team leaders in steals.
8 for 10.
They tell us this lefty not a very good move. It still has to be, though, an imposing body out there, 6'8", big guy, and standing on the mound. 1-1 pitch.
Well, there was an old lefty in the past that was a good one, Sam McDowell, and he blow people away for strike 1, strike 2. And then he wanted to embarrass you, and he'd throw a breaking ball up there and let somebody beat him. There, he throws the breaking ball, and Ankiel backs away from it for a called strike.
2-2. Johnson is one of those guys that when he holds a runner on, he's actually, in this case with a lefty on, he'll edge out from the bag and be a foot or two away, trying to get in better position.
Snap throw, sometimes you get the tag on the player a little quicker.
That's 4 strikeouts for West in 2 innings. And he'll lead it off when we come back. Battles Furman on Saturday, and many video providers in our Cardinals viewing area will offer this game on pay-per-view, $29.95. And don't miss the action. Mizzou squares off against Furman on Saturday, and you'll only be able to see it on pay-per-view. Access your digital program guide or call your pay-per-view provider to order. We had a great game over the weekend, and looking forward to this weekend. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff at Faurot Field in Columbia. Jim Hayes has joined us here in the booth. Wainwright back to work. He'll face West, Coughlin, and Nick Johnson. If anybody can reach, then Hanley Ramirez. And the first pitch is a strike. And Jim, there's some news with Kyle Loesch.
Yeah, Kyle threw a side session today. He's still bothered by that forearm. And now we had this debate. Even Kyle isn't sure how to describe it. Basically, the muscles in the forearm aren't firing correctly, so he loses command. There was an MRI taken. It was negative. It didn't show any structural damage. So Kyle says his job now is to keep working and doing the exercises to try to strengthen that forearm, and he hopes to be back on the mound later this week. That's what Kyle is hoping.
It's been pretty much a lost season for him. You know, 2 stints on the disabled list. The first time that has happened. Really, neither time was it pitching related. It all started with that forearm being hit by a pitch in the batter's box and aggravating it. But that's been an ongoing theme for since what, first, second month of the season.
You think about how he started this year.
3-0.
Yeah, he picked up right where he left off. He looked great. And he also had that little knee issue over at first base and an odd ground ball.
It's like he's had a bullseye on his back, and adding to his frustration is the fact that this team is on a big roll, headed for the postseason. 3 guys in the starting rotation are having outstanding seasons, and he has to be relegated to the role of spectator for the most part. He just wants to do his part, and he's hoping he'll get that opportunity. And it's a big question because how the Cardinals decide to shape up the starting rotation and the bullpen depends a lot on Kyle Loesch.
And here's a ground ball handled by Pujols, a fair ball. Let's remind Cardinal fans, when it comes to tickets, you deserve Major League service. Go online to StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Cardinals. You know, Loesch is a guy, though, if he's right, well, what a weapon he would be out of your bullpen if you don't use him in your rotation in postseason play.
If he's right and he shows that he can be a productive starter again, is he in the starting rotation? It's a question the Cardinals are going to have to answer.
You don't need 4 starters.
Right.
So, I think the Cardinals feel like they do need 4 starters.
Well, of course, sometimes talking to them, they think they need 10.
I don't think they need 10, Dan.
I'm out.
I was trying to get Dan in the conversation. It looked like he was fading off.
This is Nick Johnson, 1 ball and no strikes with 2 outs and nobody on. Oh, I'm right here.
That was a shot at you, Dan.
I know it was, Al.
I want you locked in, Dan.
I am locked in. I've been locked in since the first pitch of opening day, Jim. Now, let's get into this. Let's talk about it, because you
Talk about what?
Well, the way the rotation, I agree with Al. I mean, essentially, you need 3 starters. Now, I've heard where they've said the same thing about Smoltz. You know, is Smoltz a guy that stays in your rotation? And yet, you know, when you sign him, you're saying, okay, we'll put you in the rotation, you stretch out, but by the time postseason play gets here, what a weapon he would be coming out of your bullpen.
If you extrapolate what John Mozeliak said yesterday on the pregame show, it seems like they like Smoltz as a starter. A lot depends on how the bullpen does the rest of the way. Can Franklin get back in the group? We all believe that he can.
Well, I'd like to remind everyone he really hasn't gotten that deep, especially by John Smoltz's standards as a starter, and now he's been shut down right now. So I just don't see where, you know, that is a real possibility. There's Dyer Miller, who is the minor league pitching coordinator.
And Al, if he's going to go to the bullpen, at some point before the regular season comes to a close, don't you have to put him out there to see if he can go back to back, or, you know, 2 out of 3 days?
I didn't think so, but he said that's what he wants, so that's what you should do.
That's 5 strikeouts so far for Adam Wainwright.
I am your bud. This bud's for you. And I got peanuts.
And here is Adam Wainwright. I don't think we've ever seen that gentleman in one of our recaps. Interesting fella here at the ballpark.
Hope that doesn't scare Jim Hayes. You know,
nothing.
Won't have nightmares with that gentleman.
I'm not frightened, Al.
Okay.
So, Jim, let's go back to John Smoltz throwing a side session, we understand?
He'll do that tomorrow. He did play catch briefly and said the shoulder. He's got a little tendonitis in the throwing shoulder. He said he feels fine. Basically, he said he could have started last night if there was a need, but he says based on where the Cardinals are, he wants to make sure that when it's time that he's needed, he's ready to go. So he opted to skip that start, get himself well. He'll throw a side tomorrow, but he's very optimistic that he can regain the form.
It's ripped to third, and a fine play made. And Wainwright retired by Jorge Cantu. And let's take a look at the Exmo Cam here, presented by Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill.
Cantu just squared up to it the old-fashioned way and catches it right in the breadbasket. And he told his pitcher, he's like, hey, take it easy. I know it was a pitcher, but he hit that ball way too hard.
This guy can hit. Wainwright, of course,
a great athlete
with 2 home runs already this year. And here is his SCHUMAKER with 1 out and nobody on. Skip struck out his first time up. Jim Hayes is with us, and SCHUMAKER is in this lineup because Brendan Ryan is a late scratch. And we thought last night that he hurt his wrist. He's been dealing with wrist issues, as Al told you, basically since high school, as he was diving back into the bag at first, but it's something to do with his pinky.
He jammed his pinky, and he said an x-ray was done, as we see Brendan jamming that pinky. X-rays were negative. He's got a little splint around the pinky and the finger next to it. He said it was hard to swing the bat with the finger now, but he said, I can't miss 2 games for this. I'm going to push as much as I can to get back in the lineup tomorrow. He doesn't think it's going to be a big deal.
And there's a swing and a miss, and maybe, Al, it all is depending on what the Cardinals do tonight. As we talked about yesterday, you get the 2-for-1, so to speak, because it's a day game tomorrow, and the off day Thursday, you don't play until Friday night, so you give him a little rest.
That's probably one of the biggest dilemmas for Tony La Russa, is how to rest his regulars, how much rest, and I'm thinking particularly Molina and Pujols. Holliday has only had 1 day off since he's gotten here. Ideally, you try to do it on the road, but if a guy needs rest and you're playing at home, there is a bigger pitcher.
And now it's Lugo, the 0-1. Pulled left side for a base hit that brings in Pujols. Jason LaRue, Chris Carpenter. And LaRue is your guest in the pregame show.
Yeah, we had Jason on, and I asked him about the bond that he's formed with Chris Carpenter. You guys know by being around the ballpark, these 2 guys are always together after games too. Yeah, I mean, but you see them doing the workouts with Pete Trinzi. They're doing it together, and LaRue said he found something, the dedication at Carpenter, that kind of inspired him, and he said he's constantly picking Carpenter's brain so he can better call a game for his job as a catcher.
Most definitely. We always see the pitchers hanging out, the starting pitchers together, but that is not a bad idea for a guy like Jason LaRue, who was a fine everyday player earlier in his career, but now the backup to Molina to go and pick the brain of the real leader of the pitching staff. Why do you like this pitch selection in this situation?
You always learn, don't you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you come to the ballpark and don't learn something, you didn't open your eyes.
And LaRue works at it. I mean, he's done a good job. You saw him last night with Wellemeyer. I mean, constantly giving direction, trying to help out. And Tony La Russa feels real comfortable with LaRue, with a guy like Wellemeyer who's trying to rediscover what he's lost this season.
2-0 on Pujols, who deviled off the wall first time up.
There's a real fine line, but sometimes you just don't gel with a certain starting pitcher, and especially when you're struggling. And there you see the 2 of them, LaRue on the left and Carpenter. And sometimes you just have that guy that you can, he's fighting for playing time, just like a struggling pitcher like Wellemeyer or Loesch.
There's a base hit into right. Lugo digging for third, and look how deep that right fielder is. That's Ross. As Ross cut it off before it got to the wall. Boy, they were playing deep. I don't blame them. The Pujols out.
And remember, Cody Ross was a center fielder until they brought up Maben, and then he's actually a better center fielder than Maben, but now playing the quarter position, trying to make the rookie a little more comfortable in center. And so he may play a little deeper than he normally would as he's learning to adjust to the corner outfield position.
What a luxury for Tony. You talk about resting players, to have a guy like Julio Lugo who can come off the bench. Had a big triple last night, has been real productive.
since coming to the Cardinals. That makes the job a little easier for Tony.
You remember when they announced the trade, and Tony and obviously Dave Duncan was in many ways had very mixed feelings, and might even say that not happy about the trade with Chris going to Boston, Lugo coming. And Tony made a statement, well, we just lost a great teammate. We'll see what kind of a teammate Lugo is. And I think he's passed with flying colors.
Yeah, no problems whatsoever. Want to go inside on Holliday. Now they'll throw over and take a look at Pujols. Even the simplest of things right there. He throws over, and Lugo comes down about a third of the way down the third base line, just in case that ball would scoot away.
It's an unorthodox step off and throw. You don't get a lot on it. Many times you can throw that pitch away. Well, remember when Smoltz first came here? He was talking about that he kind of detected a little mechanical flaw that he was throwing across his body. One of the reasons why he had so much trouble with the left-hander. Instead of getting in on the left-hander, he left the ball out over the plate, and I think that's what they're talking about.
That's as frustrated as we've seen Holliday get since he got to St. Louis. Chased a pitch out of the zone. He has not looked comfortable tonight.
So his last pitch, and one, he's chasing balls out of the strike zone. That's probably what he's mad at. Remember, he struck out on a breaking ball in the dirt, the slider in the dirt.
Crowd comes alive on a 1-2 pitch. He's got another check on Albert, and he is safe over at first. A little bigger lead this time by Pujols at first. The 1-2 to Holliday. 2-2. Very good pitch right there.
Up and in will, the fastball sets up everything. Very rarely do you see guys repeat the same pitch. So in the mind of Holliday, will he repeat it, or does he go with the breaking ball now? Just make sure you swing at a strike.
2-2 pitch. Holliday. Again, kind of a defensive swing, but still got a piece of it to stay alive. Again, these guys don't look real comfortable against his lefty, do they?
First time they have faced him, and 6'8", obviously it looks like when he strides and comes towards the plate, he looks like he's throwing the ball about 40, from a distance of 40 feet. But they're not picking it up.
A 2-2 in the dirt. Now with Jorge Cantu, the third baseman, he's playing back with Holliday up. Lugo is getting a huge initial lead. Then his secondary lead is almost all the way, about halfway down the baseline. So 3-2 with 2 outs. Pujols up with a pitch.
And they better even get a bigger lead, but Albert will be running. It should play behind him at first.
There he goes, and Holliday gets it out of play. Pujols was actually heading back to the bag at first just to make sure that he wasn't picked off. Slowly but surely you get the feeling that Holliday's starting to dial him in. A 3-2 pitch. Holliday. High fly ball into right. And the catch made by Ross. Cardinals strand 2, and we have played 3. Jim, thanks for being with us. We'll see you on the postgame. Ramirez, Cantu, and Ugla. Ramirez bounced into a 6-4-3 double play, and thus far he has 1 hit against the Cardinals this year. Tremendous talent, overall batting .360, 23 home runs, and he's driven in 99. Molina sets up outside the 0-1 pitch, high and outside. Cardinals' 2010 schedule was released, and for the 14th consecutive season, that's all the years there has been interleague play, the Texas Rangers will not play the Cardinals in St. Louis. Matter of fact, they have met just once. That was in 2004, and Keel will put it away for the first out. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. By the Casino Queen Hotel and Casino, home of the Lucy Slots. And brought to you by Taco Bell's new Volcano menu. It's seriously spicy. And yet, the Cardinals and other National League Central Division teams are slated to play the American League West next year. Cardinals and Rangers will not even play at all.
Right.
On the other side, Anaheim makes their 3rd visit to St. Louis next May. The Cardinals have never been to Anaheim.
I'm a big fan.
You were really a big fan when it was the 3rd year in a row in Detroit?
Oh, sure. Made perfect sense.
Cardinals will play only 6 of the 15 interleague play games on the road at Toronto and Kansas City.
Oh, look at that breaking ball.
Is that nice?
14 years, right? And we've only been to Yankee Stadium once, and we've been to Fenway twice. Never been to Baltimore. Never been to Anaheim. Maybe in the next 15 or 14 years we'll get there.
1-2, a little check swing, and he did not go.
Wainwright is trying to get an appeal, but nothing doing from Chris Cuccione, our home plate umpire.
The Cubs and Cardinals, well, folks here in St. Louis, will have to wait until August 13th before the Cubs come to Busch Stadium.
Overall, we kind of like the schedule.
It is more traditional, where 1 week here, 1 week away, so forth and so on, until by the end of August. It's a 3-city road trip, and actually 17 of 20 late August and early September. It's fouled back and out of play. Cardinals will be at Wrigley Field, and it's always fun. 3 different weekends. 3
always
different
fun.
weekends at Wrigley. Grounder hit to short, charging Lugo, and he commits the error.
Second error Lugo's made as a Cardinal, and 9th overall. Not noted for his defense, more of an offensive player, but he's has to be out there as Brendan Ryan has the jam pinky on his left hand.
And now Wainwright needs a ground ball and a double play off the bat of Ugla, who struck out back in the 2nd inning. Cardinals have turned a double play that was in the 1st off the bat of Ramirez.
Turn 2. Remember, they got a double play when was a strike him out of Ugla and throw him out. So start of our 5 and 55 was Wainwright and what Ugla does against him, as he's still struggling. 1 for 13 with 5 strikeouts.
Oh, 2. Look at that nasty breaking ball, and it's getting sharper here.
And you see Ugla just his frustration after it's called, and he knew it as his knees buckled, couldn't pull the trigger. He went ahead and executed his swing just to prove to himself that he could. Should have called him strike 3.
0-2. Great block again by Molina. Not to overstate the point, but 2 strikes and that ball in the dirt. Not a worry for Wainwright with Molina behind the plate.
That's why I say, I mean, over the weekend, it looked like he really needed that day off yesterday, and LaRue can handle things very well, but Yadi's caught more innings than any other catcher, so been a cool summer, but still.
And a called third strike on Ugla. He was expecting the breaking ball and got the fastball.
That's what happens when you guess. And usually one pitch behind, but you said looking breaking ball, and then oh, I got the express.
So that is 6 strikeouts for Wainwright. So 2 away, and it brings in the right fielder Ross. Ross singled his first time up. Two and 0. Off day on Thursday. Cubs make their way to St. Louis. Final time we'll see the Cubbies this weekend. It's a hard ticket, by the way, to get.
Speaking of the Cubs, they are leading in the bottom of the 4th over Milwaukee, 1-0. Zambrano's on the mound. He's got a chance to add to that lead with runners at second and third and nobody out. It's pretty good. Pinella's very happy about that matchup.
Astros and Cincinnati tied up 4-4. That's in the bottom of the 7th. The Phillies lead Washington also in the bottom of the 7th, 5-0. Top of the 8th. Atlanta over the Mets, 5-0. 2-1 pitch to Ross. Line to short. Lugo there. Ludwig leads it off when we come back.
On Albert Pujols and the National League Central leading Cardinals in a showdown between bitter division rivals. Fox Saturday Baseball this week, 3 p.m. Central on Fox. A lot of cameras are flashing, and it's not Albert Pujols up at the plate. It's Ryan Ludwig, and he drives this ball. It's a high pop-up. Right fielder coming in, but Ugla goes back on it and makes the play. Tickets for possible home games in the Division Series and National League Champion Series will go on sale Wednesday, September 23rd. Fans who wish to purchase tickets must go online to stlcardinals.com to register for the chance to purchase. Registration runs today through Friday, September 18th. Visit stlcardinals.com to register today. So Ludwig pops up the first pitch, and DeRosa, who hit into a double play, is at the plate. Talked to DeRosa today and asked him about how his wrist is feeling. Left wrist will require surgery after the season. He said, you know, no excuses, no nothing, just said it's okay. You know, it's okay, but reading through the lines, you know, it bothers him. And
that's a ball outside, 1-2. You know, our buddy Keith O'Brien is watching tonight. He's part of our crew. And medical emergency on Friday, so he's out of the loop for just a little bit, but resting comfortably and looking forward to getting him back. There's a swing and a miss by DeRosa.
This is not what we expected from West, is it?
Not at all, and he has struck out 6.
Now, Al McRae's son, Colin, is the video coordinator for the Marlins, and I was talking with Colin about West, and he said, well, he could give you 3, he could give you 7. And we really don't know what to expect from him, but tonight he's been very impressive.
So 2 outs, and here's Molina. Jeannie Andrews is filling in for Keith O'Brien and doing a great job. She has been with us for years. And Jeannie has been helping out Danny Martinez, who's just trying to find his way.
Well, there's no better teacher than Jeannie.
We can't say that. Danny's been with us all year. He's done a great job for us. Just trying to get a rise out of you, Al.
Well, you did.
I mean, he's
got a reaction.
Okay.
And we do like Danny.
Into left center. Maben with his closing speed puts it away. So the Cardinals go in order, and we played 4 tonight here at Busch Stadium. No score. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Back at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, and Wainwright and the Cardinals with the Florida Marlins in town, scoreless here in Game 2. We talked about it at the start of our ball game tonight, how important this is for Wainwright as far as what may happen with the Cy Young Award, trying to keep pace with Lincecum, who was just outstanding yesterday. Watching that game when we got home, even though our game was late, and he is so nasty from that delivery and the stuff that he's got. Lugo, a little nifty play to his left, and Paulino retired for the first out. Took a little tricky hop, it looked like, at the end there.
Yes, it did. He was playing in the hole, so he had to go to his left, and then right before it gets there, it comes up on him a little bit. But that's why you always get your glove low. You have your glove low because it's easier to come up on a ball if you have your glove around your knee level, and it takes a submarine or dives on you, your ball rarely will you ever stop it.
And here is Maben, got a really good at bat, even though he struck out first time up in the second. You might remember he fouled off a bunch of pitches, and eventually Wainwright won that battle. 0 for 1 tonight. That last throw by Lugo, a good example of what Jose Oquendo was talking about with me the other day, how Pujols receives some of these throws. If it's tailing towards home plate, so to speak, and if he stretches, he's going to lose a little bit of ground. By staying back on it, he feels he gains an extra foot or two. We look at it maybe a little differently. Where
we sure do.
You know, it could be dangerous.
Well, yeah, you always are worried about him having the runner run into him, and many times you're exposed looking out to the field, trying your arm stretched out. We've seen guys, even fracture a wrist.
That's up the middle and under the glove of Skip Schumaker for a base hit from Maben.
But I mean, I played a little bit of first baseman, and by no means, I didn't win no gold gloves, and I wasn't at the major league level. But I always kind of straddled the bag to where I could go left or right.
Well, Paulino was not in your picture there, but we've seen for some of these plays, Pujols actually is backing up behind the bag, and you'll see that runner. It almost looks like there's a near collision ready to happen.
And your arm stretched out there receiving the throw, and you run into a speeding runner coming down the line, and Albert's standing right over the bag. It's going to be a collision.
So here is Sean West, who struck out back in the third, and Pujols thought about going to second, but gets the sure thing over at first base. So the lead runner is at second base. Good speed in Maben. And this date in baseball history, back in 1969, lefty Steve Carlton fans 19 to set a new Major League Baseball record in a single game.
Of course, the problem was in that game he lost.
So Schnucks, this date in baseball history, 1969.
Lost 2-1 in that ball game.
Think about collisions at first base. It was Hee-Sop Choi, who then was with the Dodgers, collided with Scott Rowland, and that began the problems with the shoulder of Scott Rowland.
And remember how innocent that collision looked. And both of them are big men, but Scotty's 6'4", 240, and looked like he almost went to push Hee-Sop Choi, and then he just kind of collapsed as he injured his shoulder.
0-2 here on Coughlin.
Good pitch right there. And they throw that cutter right in on the hands of the left-handed batter. So he's got the cutter coming in there. He's got the good 12-6 curveball. His secondary pitches. Remember last year when he was on the disabled list with that tendon sheath problem on his pitching hand, he developed a pretty good changeup.
Here comes an 0-2 pitch. Pulled foul. Coughlin is grounded out to first and also struck out 0 for 2. You went through the numbers last night, what this guy has done this year, and by going on stats alone, he's right there in the running for Rookie of the Year.
Definitely, but a lot of the national media probably does not know about him. He leads all qualifying major league rookies in batting average, hits, runs, total bases, and on base percentage.
And he strikes out for the second time tonight. 7 already through 5 for Wainwright. Go inside Big Ten Conference football 4 nights a week with 4 unique shows on the Big Ten Football 4-Pack. The only cure for gridiron deficiency, the Big Ten Network. And here is Rick Ankiel, slowly hit. He may beat this out. Tough play for Udlick. Gloves, no play. And a base hit for Rick Ankiel. So leadoff base hit here for Rick Ankiel.
Look at that funny bounce right off around the plate and takes a right turn, just sort of a swinging bunt. And we've talked about the possibility of trying to bunt off to this starter. You know, he does fall towards the third base side, so that's where you'd want to execute a bunt. It was a swinging bunt, but he gets the base hit.
And here is Wainwright. Will they pull back and swing here? Hitting lane to the left side, and you know that's in the back of Dan Ugla's mind. Is also Jorge Cantu saw a hard hit ball right at him at third base when Wainwright was up first time.
And one of the old tricks of the trade is, you know, if you aren't sure if the sacrifice situation is in order, or if you question whether he will execute it, and he's a very good bunter, now you throw over to first base and see what if he tips it off.
Outfield is straight away, and Wainwright hits it in the air out to right. Very shallow, and Cody Ross will make the catch and puts it away for the first out. Hey fans, have you taken in some of the great seats of the ballpark? Well, you can also get a view from the dugout. Experience it by taking a tour of Busch Stadium. Tours normally occur daily, except on days with afternoon home games like tomorrow. So for more information, a lot of folks have taken advantage of this. Great way to see the new Busch Stadium, 345-9565, or visit stlcardinals.com.
Tough night so far for Schumaker, who's had back-to-back 3-hit games, but what's he going to do with the man on in front of him?
Ooh, just foul.
And the ball got in on him and almost placed that ball right inside the third base bag. That would have been extra bases, possibly a run. See how deep that ball got in on him, so the only place it could go with an inside-out swing is to the left field side, but just foul.
Schumaker has seen that steady diet of breaking balls and struck out twice, 0 for 2.
Time being called, and now Hanley Ramirez, the shortstop, wants to come in and talk to his pitcher, and Paulina will come out as maybe Ramirez saw something.
Pitch count at 71 for Wainwright. West 58. And you're right, Al. He has been much better than advertised. But here we go, young guy again. Not a lot of tape on him. First time you're seeing him. Lefty has given the Cardinals fits tonight. Left-handers all season long have done that.
This is his 18th start. 18 starts, so there should be plenty of video, but no up close and personal experience of what it looks like in the batter's box.
This is now the Cardinals' third time through the lineup. Let's see what they can do. 1 ball, 1 strike, runner at first, 1 out. They'll throw over again, and Keel glides back into the base safely.
One thing I could figure out that Ramirez was thinking that maybe he picked up a hit and run sign or something of that nature is.
Well, you think about leadoff men supposed to put the ball in play, draw walks, go deep into a count. And tonight the 2 leadoff men have struck out combined 4 times. And Skip Schumaker, by the way, has never struck out 3 times in a game.
I think we can say that after this at bat. I said Schumaker kind of in a little bit of a funk, and then he battled out of it with back-to-back 3-hit games. Leads the club in that department.
And he fights this off for a base hit into left field. And it's first and second with 1 out. Trying to go inside on Schumaker. He stayed with it and just fought it off.
kind of came back to the middle of the plate a little bit. Schumaker has that very good inside-out stroke. So many of his hits seem to go to left field. And Cardinals hopefully have something going here with one out. Lugo struck out his first time, but he got a base hit. And then Albert has not made an out yet in this series.
So one out, and it's first and second. And once again, time is called. Now remember, Lugo hit one out to deep left last night, and just surveying now the defense. Look at that gap in left center. You can turn on one and have a 2-run score with good speed out there. Schumaker, the runner at first. Rick Anfield, the runner at second base. Dutch trying to hold on. It's in the top of the fifth. It's now a 4-3 game over Milwaukee. Cliff Lee got out to just a phenomenal start with the Phillies. Had a couple of complete games early on. As he was traded to Philadelphia, he's on the mound tonight. And his club, bottom of the 8th, leading 5-0. 2-0 here on Lugo, and Pujols on deck. It has to be eye-opening for some of these Marlins players to come into St. Louis, and we're expecting over 40,000 here tonight. You wonder how the crowds will turn out in Florida once they get their new stadium built. If that will change things.
It does have a retractable dome, right?
Retractable roof, that's right.
Better, or roof. Better have one.
The 2-1 pitch to Lugo.
In one sense, it's going to have much the same problem. It's not going to be, it's going to be in a worse neighborhood, and nothing really around the old Orange Bowl site.
Menacing presence of Albert Pujols on deck, who's 2 for 2 tonight. 3 balls, 1 strike on Lugo. He'll be very selective here. And he walks. Wouldn't you know it? Here comes Albert with the bases loaded. You know these fans know about it.
So he got 5 Grand Slams this season to tie a National League record. He is the current record of the Cardinals all-time Grand Slam record with 11. And just incredible what he's done this season with the bases loaded.
And oh, by the way, he is red hot right now.
I believe he has something like 30 RBIs.
Well, he was at 29, loaded. Yeah, right at 30 or so. On their feet here at Busch Stadium.
He was 4 for 4 in this series. He got the game-winning hit last night. Leads the National League in game-winning hits. One away from tying the Major League record of 6 Grand Slams in one season.
Pujols almost hit his 48th home run first time up. He doubled off the wall in center with a line drive, and then singled second time up.
And this year, with the bases loaded, a .643 average, 5 home runs, 29 RBIs, and 1 sac fly with the bases loaded.
1-0, hit out to left. And Keel will tag up. Here comes a throw to the plate. It's strong. It's on line. He is safe. Pujols picks up the RBI. 1-0 St. Louis.
I told you it was 30 RBIs with the bases loaded.
And that makes number 30 with the bases loaded at 126 overall.
Made this play a lot closer, and Ankiel running hard all the way, but Molina tries to stick that left leg out there to stop the runner. Ankiel coming in, and just a little bit tardy, and the Cardinals lead 1-0. He get to that left leg, but had enough force sliding feet first that he couldn't block him.
Runners at first and second now with 2 outs for Holliday.
A little surprising that the runners didn't advance, as it appeared that throw was high to where no one could cut it off, and Schumaker did not advance.
Activity now for the Marlins in their bullpen. That's a right-hander getting loose.
Schumaker doesn't advance, then Lugo can.
Pitch to Holliday. And Matt hasn't looked overly comfortable at the plate tonight. He has struck out and also flied out to right.
Brian Sanchez is warming up.
One ball, one strike. Again, a little show of frustration from Holliday. Just wonder if he's just not seeing the ball that well tonight.
Well, it appears that way in your rare displays of frustration. I guess when you've hit over 400 in your home ballpark, you don't get a chance to be too disappointed. But still has the big third strike left. Milwaukee's taking a 5-4 lead over Chicago. I wonder if Prince Fielder has done anything, because he had 126 RBIs, tops in the National League coming into this action, and Albert just tied with his 126th RBI tonight.
See that gap in left center. Ooh, just missed. Prince Fielder 0 for 1 with a couple of walks, so Albert Pujols now at 126 and tied with Fielder in the RBI department, and leads Mark Reynolds of Arizona in home runs by 6, and Pujols only trails now HANLEY Ramirez in the batting average. Pujols is now number 2 as he came into play tonight at 329, Helton 323, Sandoval 321, David Wright at 314.
And the batting race currently right now is Ramirez 359, Albert Pujols 332. No Marlin has ever won a batting championship.
It'd be awfully tough this late in the year for Albert to catch him. He'd have to go on a great tear, and then Ramirez would have to finish up awfully cold. 2-2 pitch. And Holliday swings and misses and strikes out. Second time he's done that tonight.
you noticed that West did a nice job pitching on both sides of the plate, up and down, changing the eye angle. And I still think it's more of the case that for whatever reason, Holliday really not picking up either the spin or really just seeing the ball clearly.
And that lefty now, West, is struck out 7 tonight. Leadoff base hit for Nick Johnson as we start play here in the 6th.
Shutdown inning after your teammates give you a run. So let's see if Wainwright can do so. He's had a little trouble with lefties this year. And Nick Johnson, a high on-base percentage guy. You got to throw him strikes, and he finds a hole.
It's amazing, 500 at bats these guys will have throughout the season now. And then you watch a player like Nick Johnson rarely, if ever, swinging at a pitch out of the zone. You know, even when he's, you think he's going to be fooled. Everybody gets fooled. And Ramirez lines it to third and back to first. Nick Johnson. Cardinals, by the way, have turned 2 double plays tonight. Brings in Cantu, who's reached on an errant single.
See a good look right here of what reactionary position, and really you have time for one step and a dive, in this case a leap, all in that hard hit ball. And Ramirez continues to struggle here against the Cardinals.
Cantu 1 for 2, single back in the 2nd inning. There's a nasty breaking ball. Boy, that is such a good pitch. You talked about it in the feature that we had, just how good that curveball is. It's considered now one of the best in baseball.
Absolutely, and then he can throw it at different speeds.
There's a broken bat and a foul ball.
He can take a little off it. A lot of times you'll see it early in the count and get a head breaking ball. Then later on he'll throw it a little harder to try and finish you off, make sure it's down for the strikeout pitch. He'll give you the cutter. That is a harder thrown ball. He's got the changeup, but it all revolves around, can he spot the fastball enough to get people not to dive out across the plate. There's the cutter. Old-fashioned slider.
The 0-2. They've hung that a bit, and he did get away with it. As Pujols has it for the out. 2 away.
You'd be surprised how many times guys actually jam themselves. You know, looking for an off-speed pitch out over the plate, and so they'll kind of use their hands a little bit, and you see how that ball almost backs up a little bit, and so you know they're looking out over the plate, and their hands are moving a little bit, and then that ball kind of comes in on their hands, and they jam themselves.
So 2 outs, and here is Dan Uggla. Very short lead at first. Uggla swing and a miss.
Well, he's going to determine to swing at it whether he sees it or not.
I think you're right. I think he said before this swing, it's all or nothing, but I am swinging.
You know, and of course this time Adam throws one that's just off the plate. To a strike, he might have connected.
Struck out twice, and that's a good pitch, as you saw Uggla on the last pitch really dive out.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You know, you have to be able to spot that fastball enough, and in this case, you know, throw enough inside pitches to where they can't go reach across the plate or dive across the plate. Keep them honest.
Curveball hit out to deep left field, to the wall, and the Marlins have the lead on a 2-run homer. Dan Uggla goes deep, his 29th home run, and it's RBI 77 and 78. He smoked it.
Okay, but you know, here's what we're talking about. Not going to say he hung it, but where he left it in a bad location. You know, down the middle part of the plate. He's looking, you know, he knows breaking ball, but there you see it does have a little hump in there. And if you throw so many breaking balls, it's only natural that you're going to hang a few of them. And in this case, instead of getting it out of the way, and Uggla knew it all the way that he got him. Only his 2nd hit ever against Wainwright, but this is a killer blow.
So it's now a 2-1 Florida lead. The Cardinals once again will have to come back, and they've made a habit of that lately. This tremendous run they've had since they acquired Matt Holliday. Two and 0.
Sometimes you got to step back. You know, don't get upset because you hung a pitch, and don't complicate it by rushing.
So that shot of Freddie Gonzalez, very even keel in that dugout. Tony La Russa, prior to the game, was heaping praise on the Florida manager.
He's a good guy. He's been around a long time and deserves this opportunity.
He's been with Bobby Cox, so he's been a coach in this game, and now a chance to manage with the Marlins.
He's been a coach with the Marlins, been with Bobby Cox, as you said, on his staff, longtime minor league manager, and you know, he deserves this opportunity, and we wish him nothing but the best.
Fly ball out to left. Holliday there to make the catch. Two-run homer by Ugla, his 29th. 2-1 Marlins. AT&T switched to the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. The new third-pound Angus burgers are here. Try one for yourself today, and that's only at McDonald's. And by Steel Outdoor Power Equipment. Powerful, lightweight, dependable, versatile. Yard care solutions start at steeldealers.com. First pitch to Ludwig, foul back. Special get well wishes to 10-year-old Jessie Kibler and her mom Belinda watching the game at Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. That's from Steve and Mamacita Lori. But nothing but the best for 10-year-old Jessie is watching tonight at Cardinal Glennon. They do some wonderful things in our community.
Boy, we are so lucky with the great children's hospitals and Shriners hospitals here, and especially Cardinal Glennon Children's, Shriners. Oh, what a job they do, and all the unsung heroes, the nursing and doctoring staff.
1-2 the count on Ludwig, who is tonight walked and also popped out to second. Ludwig streaky this year, Al.
Well, very streaky, and that's always been sort of his trademark. He has 2 hits in 4 of his last 6 games.
And a strikeout. How about West? He has struck out 8 tonight. That's 2 in a row. Bush Bash Fridays feature prizes, live music, and a Cardinals player. And this Friday will feature two former Cardinals, Mike Matheny and John Mabry, from 5:30 to 6:30 in the Ford Plaza. And listen up closely, the first 200 people in line will be guaranteed to get autographs. For more information and tickets, visit STLCardinals.com. Get the feeling that you could be getting autographs from two future coaches or managers, John Mabry and Mike Matheny.
Two very good family men that, you know, the family takes priority, but you know, at some point they're going to get back into baseball, and I think both of them will have many opportunities. Hopefully they'll find a job here with the Cardinals.
So career high with those 8 strikeouts. What has been a brief career in the major leagues thus far. Young man, 6'8", Mr. West.
That's only his 18th big league start.
And he's had 82 pitches on the night. He's due up third. Remember last inning they had a right-hander getting loose in their bullpen.
We minimized the damage where the Cardinals only scored 1 run. Where they had the bases loaded and Albert up with only 1 out. They could only muster the sac fly.
And there's a high pop-up into shallow right. Douglas called off by Ross. Makes the catch. And there's 2 outs. We turn to tonight's Aflac trivia question. Maybe the only 2 players to hit more home runs in this decade than Albert Pujols. That's a good question.
And it can only be somebody that played, you know, 1 more year.
About A-Rod.
That would be my first choice, and Jim Thome.
I haven't heard much about Jim Thome and what he's done with the Dodgers.
Yeah. Well, I think they're thinking that they go to the World Series with the American League club having home field advantage once again. There's a pretty good DH, but you got to get there. But you know, he's a solid citizen that would help any postseason run.
And he's not going to complain one bit about his role down the stretch with the Dodgers, and not getting significant playing time, obviously, with a good young nucleus that they have. 3-0 here on Molina, who is single to right and also flied out. Ricky and Keel on deck. It's a 2-1 ball game here in the bottom of the 6th.
West only walked 1. That'd be maybe something else that's surprising. He's averaged about just a shade under 5 walks for 9 innings.
And there's your walk. So that's a third he has issued tonight. So 2 outs, and here's Ricky Ankiel, who's 1 for 2, single back in the 5th, and they scored a run. The single was an infield single, just a little slow tapper towards second base, no play for Ugla. He's about due to get into one, isn't he? Last one was the 6th at Pittsburgh.
Pinch hit home run at that time. Brian Sanchez back up again for the Marlins.
A 1-day in Keel. Strike 2. He chased a ball low.
Last time, you know, Rick never connected, or the first time up didn't connect on the sliders, and then he just threw a fastball up and away and got Rick to chase that one. See if they try that same combination. Too much of the plate.
Way too much of the plate. Bottom of the 6th now, and a 5-5 game between Milwaukee and Chicago. Cold foul. When he centers it, boy, the ball just jumps off his bat.
So much of the time right now is he just really covers from the middle of the plate in. And, you know, you can jam him inside, but if you get the ball out away from him, he has a hard time reaching it. As he pulls it, you see them working away.
And Ankiel is swinging a miss. West has now struck out 9, adding to his career high with every strikeout this evening. 2-1 after 6. And we're back in St. Louis. It's a 2-1 Florida lead as we move to the top of the 7th. And another breaking ball. A strike from Wainwright to Ronnie Paulino. That's pitch number 87 tonight. And Wainwright is due up first for the Cardinals in the bottom of the 7th.
Paulino's hit 320 since the All-Star break.
Had some good games against the Cardinals as a Pirate.
Acquired by Florida March 27th trade in San Francisco that sent Correa to the Giants. He was traded earlier in the day from Philadelphia to San Francisco for left-hand pitcher Jack Tatchner.
One and 2 the count. Paulino, Maben, and then West spot is due up. The 0-2. Wainwright has struck out 7 tonight. West has struck out 9. Johnson and Pinheiro tomorrow at 12:30.
Good pitching matchup.
Two ripped right to the third baseman. And DeRosa puts it away for the first out. Second time he's had a line shot to him.
And I would think that we've seen the final inning by West, as he will be third up this inning right after Maben. And activity in their bullpen, Brian Sanchez is up for the third time, so you would think that he would be coming in, and we see a switch hitter, Ross Glode, a pinch hitter. Ross Glode at the on deck circle. David came over from Detroit, and the Renteria did.
0-1 pitch.
Not the Renteria deal, but the
Cabrera
deal. Yeah.
Friday, October 2nd, Ozzie Smith bobblehead night. Here at Busch Stadium, 25,000 fans take home a bobblehead featuring Hall of Famer Ozzie Smith. Courtesy of Coca-Cola. For tickets, visit STLCardinals.com. So 6 innings, 6 hits, 3 walks for West. There's a look at the Wizard, the outfield wall here at Busch Stadium. And Ross Glode will be the pinch hitter. So that's it for West. And Wainwright trying to keep it 2-1. Cardinals jumped out to a 1-0 lead. Sac fly RBI in the bottom of the 5th. And the difference in this game now, the 2-run homer by Uglad.
Glode, one of the best pinch hitters in the National League.
94 pitches for West tonight. Popped up. MOLINA gives chase and out of play. Into the green seats it goes. Folks last night got their money's worth. The green seats, nearly a 4-hour game. All the free food and beverages you want.
A nice price tag, but like you said, if you could consume all that food and drink, that you got a bargain.
Then you feel like you get cheated sometimes when Carpenter pitches. Here's the 0-2.
Glode is tied with Seth Smith for the major league lead in hits by a pinch hitter this season, 16. Batting .281, 16 for 52nd with 1 home run and 13 RBIs in that role.
Tommy, our fine director, and Mike Kelling, our producer tonight. As Wainwright now will go to first, underhanded by Pujols, and Adam couldn't hold on, and Glode is on with a base hit. Almost made a very fine play there. Believe he would have been out. Ross Glode gets the base hit.
Yeah, just a swinging bunt would have been a very close play there. No time for an exchange, so that shovel pass. And Adam really should have held on to it right in the middle of his palm of his hand. You see his reaction. I'm sure that's another indication that he felt he should have done. Bonifacio is going to pinch run for Glode.
For his great speed and the start that he had to this season.
Opening day had 4 hits, including an inside the park home run. Had 3 steals. Arguably one of the best ever in their brief history for an opening day game.
Charlie Huff, first ever pitcher to throw an actual pitch in a game.
And he won their
knuckleball
opening day of their first year. And the old knuckleballer Charlie Huff won that game. Sure, he's a pitching coach someplace.
I believe he's in the Dodger system.
Yeah, kind of a rarity to have a knuckleball pitcher be a pitching coach, but had one here in St. Louis, and Barney Schultz.
They say that they at times can make decent pitching coaches because when they first started they weren't knuckleballers.
Right.
They developed the knuckleball to stay in the game.
And Barney was a hero in postseason play one year. But I'll never forget spring training, Barney Schultz's first year as a pitching coach, and he went up to Bob Gibson and he said, you know, Bob, I think we ought to work on this. And Bob looked at him and said, are you crazy? Don't you ever speak to me again.
And that was it, huh?
Well, what's a knuckleballer going to tell Bob Gibson? You know.
What's anybody going to tell Bob Gibson? I think Bob has got a new book out, by the way, with Reggie Jackson.
Really?
You have to find out.
It's a combination. I'll call him and ask him about that. But you know what you tell Bob Gibson? Bob, I'll pick up the check.
He'd probably make you do that anyway.
No, a guy like me was smart enough to just say, Bob, would be honored to pay for your meal.
0-1 the count on Coughlin.
A great teammate.
0-2. Coughlin tonight is twice struck out and also grounded out. Here is a pitch that he's fooled on again.
You see, look at that. It starts at the shoulders, breaks all the way to the plate. And that's a good, real yellow hammer, 12-6 breaking ball, curve ball. If you throw so many of them, you know, if you throw such a high percentage, you're going to hang a few. And what happened with the 2-run home run, the difference in this game. He's thrown 100 pitches. What will 101 be?
With Wainwright having to extend this inning, if there were any thoughts about having him go back out there in the 8th, he'd probably been dashed. Agreed?
Yes. I mean, there's the big picture is postseason. Cy Young is something that, you know, you would love to help him.
Runner goes, throw by Molina, not in time. Picked a breaking ball to run on, plus it was in the dirt. That combination leads to a steal. And
not a clean exchange from Molina. So right there, just a split hesitation. Didn't have the handle, went ahead and executed the throw and got lucky that it bounced so far in front of Lugo that he got a real true hop.
2-2, 2 outs, runner at second, and a 2-1 game here at the top of the 7th.
That's where sometimes I just think they fall too much in love with the breaking ball and doesn't give his fastball enough credit. Okay, there's 3 consecutive breaking balls on 0-2, where why not try and throw a fastball out there on 0-2? Try to give him something different.
Third ball again.
You knew it was going to come. First base open. There was a hanger too.
And so that's strikeout number 8 for Wainwright. Bud Light. And the Cardinals and Marlins wrap up their series tomorrow at 12:30 on Fox Sports Midwest. Marlins and Cardinals at 12:30. And new pitcher Brian Sanchez into the ball game for the Marlins. 41st appearance, ERA under 2. Had his contract selected from AAA New Orleans back in late May 18th to be exact.
Colby had a big night last night, 3 for 5 with the 3-run home run. He had hit 500 in the series in Florida against the Marlins.
And you might remember Brian Sanchez last year with the Washington Nationals as Miller gets loose along with Mitchell Boggs.
Yeah, so Sanchez appeared in 12 games with the Nationals, and prior to that, a little spot duty here and there with Philadelphia.
Up the middle, this will be a tough play. Ugla quickly to first, and he just gets Colby Rasmus for the first out. Remember last night, little routine grounder to Handler Ramirez at shortstop, turned out to be a single with his good speed and hustling all the way.
And Ugla, an offensive player, but he was aware, and maybe because of that speed he saw last night, that he knows he has to get rid of the ball quickly and gets it over to Nick Johnson just in time.
So 8 strikeouts tonight for Wainwright, but he's on the hook. Ugla's home run the difference so far. It's 2-1 here in the Cardinals half of the 7th. Schumaker 1 for 3 tonight.
Cubs have taken a 6-5 lead. Still batting, bases loaded, 1 out. Giovanni Soto is at the plate.
Up the middle, 2-hit night for Skip. First 2 at bats, he struck out. And now back-to-back singles for Schumaker, and the tying run is aboard.
Still has a chance to get another plate appearance. We'll have 3 consecutive 3-hit games.
Lugo's been on base twice. He has walked, he has singled, and struck out his first time up. Tony La Russa now with more options if he'd like, or if he wanted to bunt in this situation. Because Holliday is here, you wonder how the opposition would face Pujols and what they'd like to do. Now, the only thing that complicates that a little bit is the way that Holliday has swung the bat tonight.
Right. I think I take my chances that Lugo stays out of the double play.
Very short lead at first by Skip. Diving back in safely. Mentioned that Skip, if you just joined us, was a late insertion into the lineup for Tony La Russa, as Brendan Ryan has a sore pinky. He drove into first base last night, so he was a scratch and Skip was in. Lugo shifted from second to short, and Schumaker in at second base.
There's Brendan, and he does not want to miss 2 consecutive games. So he's saying he'll do everything he can to get in that lineup tomorrow afternoon. What time's that game start?
12:30 with the pregame.
12:30 with the pregame.
1:15 first pitch. And looked like he was crossed up on that pitch.
No real conversation. So take a look at it. It sure appeared that way, or very awkward as he went after the breaking ball.
And here's a 1-2 pitch. Ooh, almost hit him. 2-2. Cubs now lead it 8-5 over Milwaukee in the bottom of the 6th.
Back to the days when Cubs won, we knew the Cardinals were going to win. They went, what, 35, 36 days without picking up a game on the Redbirds?
The check on Schumaker. Away. Remember, Pujols is on deck. He is the only RBI tonight for the Cardinals. Number 126. Five or six times that he's thrown over.
All he's doing is going to spray his concentration, and he's going to make a mistake going to the plate. Ed McKay might have told Schumaker to shorten up your lead. All the more throws you can draw, as long as you're comfortably getting back, so be it. Worrying so much about that, you better worry about the guy at the plate.
Lugo slices one foul. The 2-2. Swing and a miss. Lugo strikes out. So now 2 outs, and it brings in Albert Pujols.
A lot better than hitting in double play, because you bring up the big man and with an opportunity to tie it or get ahead. He was 2 for 2 last night, 2 for 2 again tonight.
Pujols tonight doubled off the wall. He's 1 for 4 against Sanchez with a home run. He's also singled tonight. As we mentioned, he picked up the only RBI for St. Louis. 1-0 pitch.
Sanchez from Texas.
The 1-1. Pujols pops it up a mile high. Is it playable? The catcher there, and he's got it. We played 7 here at Busch Stadium. Florida 2, St. Louis 1. A home run as he blasted it into the bullpen, into left, and took Wainwright deep. That's the difference. It's 2-1. Marchevy called to the bullpen. The Cardinals go with the lefty specialist here, and that is Trevor Miller, and he'll face Nick Johnson. And Miller, of course, has been spectacular this year. Trevor signed the extension to stay in St. Louis. By the way, the Cardinals have a sellout tonight. Their 29th sellout. 42,889. 42,889. And the Cardinals will go over 3 million in attendance with that mark tonight. 64th appearance for Trevor. And it's the 6th straight year the Cardinals have gone over the 3 million mark, the 11th overall. And the club currently in 3rd in the National League with an attendance that's just behind LA and Philly. So over 3 million fans through the turnstiles yet again here at Busch Stadium.
Probably one batter that Miller will face, and then they'll bring in Mitchell Boggs.
And Mitchell finished this game off for the Cardinals after all the bullpen work of game 1. And Hawksworth, by the way, if you're wondering, was credited with the win last night.
Well, he's 4-0 now.
He's really done a good job out of the bullpen.
Sure has. And
gives you something to think about next year, depending on how things go with Pinheiro or some of the other starters. You know, would you like to have Blake Hawksworth in your bullpen? Is he more valuable there as a starter?
Once again, Dan, we've seen that he can handle a couple innings, 3 innings. Going to get you 6+ innings. And I think one of the guys that everyone's kind of a little bit intrigued about is Garcia. One, you put a left-hander in that bullpen. Is what happened last night is the bullpen accounted for 5 shutout innings and held on for the victory. I think it was 2 hits. 2 hits allowed in those 5 innings by the bullpen.
Marlins came into existence in 1993. They were 64-98 that year, but they've won a couple of pennants and a couple of World Series. And it's 3-2 here on Nick Johnson.
Well, Nick Johnson just, he seems like he always gets the benefit of the doubt. If he takes a pitch, it's usually a ball. Very high on base percentage.
3-2. Johnson smokes it. Left field. Holliday over to make the catch. And Johnson retired for the first out here in the 8th.
Here comes Tony.
And that'll be it for Trevor Miller. So once again, Trevor does his job. Mitchell Boggs coming in with 1 out here in the 8th. Was fantastic tonight with 9 strikeouts, his career high. The 6'8" lefty. Yadier has caught a man tonight. Wainwright, very good in his own right. Had one mistake, and that was the home run that he allowed to Ugla. The Cardinals jumped on the board first, and Keel scoring the run on the sac fly by Pujols, but Ugla, the home run in the 6th, and this made it 2-1.
And the Ramirez has been held in check, only 1 for 7 in this series, 0 for 3 tonight. Mitchell Boggs will take over. This is the 12th game. Most of those out of the starting rotation. 2-2 on the season, 1 hold. ERA at 4.13. I think in many ways this is a role that they see him in. And they see him have that ability to come in for a few innings and really kind of let it loose. Really kind of maybe learn what makes you successful here at the major league level, and maybe down the road develop into a starting.
I like what he had to say the other day, and that's at 97, first pitch at 96. He said, I don't care what my role is if I'm in the major leagues. This is where I want to be, obviously.
Well, most definitely. And a lot of times you got these kids that or because of pitch counts and the inability to spot their fastballs, they don't 98 on the radar gun, but they don't have the they like 5 borderline 6 innings in the minor leagues and come up here and expect them to go deeper in their game. It's not going to happen.
Went right at him, and according to our gun, 98 on the gun. And Ramirez strikes out. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals.
See, this is what I think. That the Cardinals feel that some of these guys that are being groomed as starters, but this is what they can do, for 1 inning out of the bullpen. We've seen right now better fastball command from him tonight in his 5 pitches than we've seen as a starter.
He's just pumping fastballs. Pujols will give chase, foul territory, and runs out of room.
So in 6 pitches, 5 of them have been strikes. That's not the ratio that we've accustomed to see him in the starting rotation. Old school, you bring a kid up, Well, first of all, relief pitchers were either broken down starters or they are young guys that weren't good enough to get into the rotation. But they learned how to pitch in the bullpen.
Breaking ball that time.
Sure. Breaking ball. And after seeing those 96 to 98, and that's Brendan Donnelly, who was in the bullpen. We saw him last night. Longtime American leaguer and a couple World Series rings on his finger. But come out here and just let it go. Just relax, have a little fun. There's now the slider. Doesn't get the call on the appeal.
1-2. Cantu is hitting .281. He is singled tonight. Reached on an error and then popped out to first, and Albert Pujols with a runner on. Wainwright could have about 3 starts left to get to 20 before the season is through, and he'll be stuck at least with 18 wins after tonight. We'll see what happens with that loss column. Could go to 18-8.
Hopefully teammates will reward him, as he had a lot of offense last night. And actually a pitching matchup that favored the Marlins. The Cardinals win. Matchup tonight definitely favored the Cardinals. And the Redbirds are trailing by 1 late.
Ground ball to third. Good work by Boggs. Gets the final 2. Holliday, Ludwig, DeRosa coming up in a 2-1 game. Budweiser Select Full Flavor, 99 calories, the exception to the rule. Bank of America. Cardinals banking only at Bank of America. Lock in $1.49 a gallon for a year's worth of gas. Visit your St. Louis Hyundai dealers today. And by Ameristar. More casino, more fun. Well, the Cardinals have to come back tonight. It's 2-1. With a young man that has since passed away. He used to visit us in the booth, Charlie Long, and it's been 3 years since we last saw him. And he was a little boy at the time when he passed away, and his dad just stopped by to say hello. And nice to hear that his family has a brand new addition, little baby girl, and the sister who we saw when she was 6, now 9.
Right.
They have a fundraiser every year in Charlie's honor, and great to hear that his name still lives on. Brendan Donnelly, his 25th appearance and a record of 2-0. Holliday takes the ball. Holliday, and we talked about it earlier, is previous at bats. Just didn't look like he was picking up the ball that well, but now he gets Brendan Donnelly, and let's see if things change.
And this now a real picnic is this guy. He's got a couple World Series rings set with the Angels and Boston.
Popped up into shallow right. Ugla out to make the catch. He's got that funky delivery. A lot of arms and legs coming at you.
You know,
kind of jumps at the hitter.
But isn't it amazing how today, you know, these guys are bigger, stronger, and they all talk about picture perfect mechanics. You barely see guys like Donnelly that are deceptive. You know, got so many moving parts that it's really a distraction in trying to pick up the release point. And if you're coming in out of that bullpen for just like one inning, or, you know, in theory, you should never face a guy twice in a night. You know, you just don't feel comfortable.
And LUDWICK pops it up. It's the same spot the right fielder Ross wants it. Quickly 2 outs.
You see pop-ups like that, it's usually an indication. Strikeouts and pop-ups, the ball moving. Just can't center the ball. Out of the Cardinal players, particularly the outfielders, catch with 2 hands, and it's good to see major leaguers with that good technique. Don't let the ball pop out.
Here's DeRosa with 2 outs.
Guarding the third base line. Maven is almost the territory where he has to buy a seat out in center, as he's about 2 steps off the warning track.
And a ground ball pulled foul, 1 ball, 1 strike, and DeRosa is grounded out, struck out, and he is flied out.
You ever seen an outfielder play as deep as Maven is? Look at where he is. Center fielder is.
We haven't seen most teams do that even with Pujols.
No, not that deep.
DeRosa just doesn't look right, does he? Some of these swings.
No, and I just think it's a reflection of that wrist, especially if you're getting reaching for a ball or swinging wildly and not connecting. Hanley signed in Florida on July 5th.
Here's a 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. But how about DeRosa when he first arrived on the scene? Even with that sore wrist, he still has pop in the bat.
Yeah, he had 8 home runs in about the first 15 games. And none since that time. A reflection of how much it's bothering him. It'll require off-season wrist surgery. But he's a gamer. You know, he doesn't make excuses. Wants to stay in the lineup, and what a class act in the clubhouse and on the field.
2-2. One of the things that Albert Basky always does when he sees a new team come to St. Louis or on the road, first game, is look at the back end of games and the closers. And how about for the Marlins this year? How do you think things have gone?
Well, they're in between. Lindstrom, who Kobe hit the 3-run home run off of last night, was their closer early in the season. Nunez is closing now.
Swing and a miss by DeRosa. Good work by Donnelly. 2-1 after 8.
Rick Horton waiting in the wings. The Cards try to get it right against another lefty. Adam Wainwright ahead of the curve, and the semifinal round of the Cardinal Tournament of Champions. It's all coming up after the game. For now, it's back to Dan and Al, guys.
All right, Jim, thanks. You see that protection that Jim has with him at all times? The police making sure there's no interference from the crowd. And that's a ball thrown by Boggs. And
hate to inform you, but they're actually there for the umpires.
oh, okay.
He is a man of the people. He needs no protection.
And a 1-0 pitch.
So Boggs back out there for his second inning. And the difference this game is the 2-run home run by Ugla.
That's a strike. Dan Ugla with that home run. And he's now got 29.
Cubs having some fun. It's now 11-5. And they're still batting, bases loaded and nobody out with Ramirez up. Pirates have an early 3-0 lead out in LA against the Dodgers in the third inning. And the Giants are the bottom of the first inning with a 3-0 lead over Colorado, closing that wild card gap. Second strikeout for Boggs, third strikeout of the night for Ugla, but he's the offensive hero for the Marlins.
One out, nobody on. First pitch to Ross, breaking ball and then a strike. How about Boggs? He looks impressive.
Like I said, I see him having a more significant role at this time in his career as a reliever.
Popped up. Mark DeRosa, the Cardinal third baseman, has got it for out number 2. Looking ahead to the bottom of this inning, the Cardinals will have Molina and Field in a pinch hitter. Ronnie Paulino digs in.
1 for 3 in the night.
And Ronnie has done a nice job behind the plate tonight. Handling this pitching staff of the Marlins, and the big lefty West is a career high 9 strikeouts.
A lot of times Paulino will get the start if they have a left-handed starter on the mound, but it's been a while for him, so he turned around and get to catch a left-handed.
It's a different looking Mitchell Boggs tonight.
There's nothing to where he has to hold anything in reserve. Just come out there, be extremely aggressive, and there's a good slider right there, trying to head in the count, trying to get him to chase. Now it's 2-2. You take a little breather and put him away. Repeated the slider.
According to our gun, that slider's been around 84, 85, and his fastball has reached as high as 98 tonight, but consistently 95, 96.
Right. A lot. That's the difference, if you're going out there trying to protect yourself, trying to pace yourself, or go out there and pitch.
Good work by Boggs. Nicely done by Mitchell. Bottom of the ninth, rolls in when we come back. Florida Marlins. And our play of the game is their starter, the lefty, Sean West. 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned run, walked 3, and a career-high 9 strikeouts. That Giants game, that's Barry Zito made the start. And Zito has been okay this year, much better than last year.
Yes. Nunez, their closer now. As I said, Lindstrom started out, and he had some problems. We're on the disabled list, and Nunez, 20 of 26 save opportunities. He's 4-5 record. Strikeouts 54, walks 23. Left-handed batters 240 against him, righties 210.
And Wes Helms takes over at third base. Atlanta beat the Mets 6-0. Kansas City a winner over Detroit 11-1. Baltimore over Tampa Bay 10-5. Phillies over Washington, that's now a final 5-0. Boston over the Angels 4-1. And with Cincinnati over Houston 5-4.
It's been about 6 days since Nunez has pitched, and one of the problems they have with him is he's not a real big guy, and they sometimes question whether he can come back-to-back games. So he should be well rested, but is he to have too much rest?
Molina, right center field. It's well hit. They had him shaded to the opposite field, and with that good speed of Maben, he's able to make the catch. If he's playing straight up, that drops in for an extra base hit.
So Nunez kind of avoiding the fact that he didn't get that slider where he wanted, but he got away with it with the closing speed of his center fielder.
Rick Ankiel, the hitter, with 1 out, nobody on. Joe Thurston has moved to the on-deck circle. Might be thinking of the power of a Troy Glosson coming up in this spot as a pinch hitter, but he just can't get healthy enough to play.
Yeah, but I think Rick's got more power right now too, as Glosson's had the shoulder issue, and now it's got a little oblique or rib cage. Maybe he'll walk into a slider that's coming into him. He had a great series in Florida, and then of late he's been a pretty good pinch hitter. Started this game, but it's almost been reduced down to a pinch hitter role, isn't it? All or nothing.
It's 1 for 3 tonight with 2 strikeouts. Rick Ankiel.
Rick, as a pinch hitter, is 4 for his last 8 with 2 home runs and 3 RBIs, and it's kind of how you see him. That maybe his role in postseason as he strikes out for the 3rd time.
And it's up to Thurston. Tony's also talked about the role of Joe Thurston and what he's done as a pinch hitter. They like his approach. He pinch hit yesterday. You might remember that odd situation with Wainwright up, and then middle of the at bat they brought Thurston up with 2 strikes and he struck out, but that was credited to Wainwright.
Yeah, but if he puts the ball in play, obviously if it's a base hit, it's his. But if he grounds out or say hits a fly ball, it's his out. So I said, don't you like Wainwright? And he goes, what are you talking about? I said, well, I'm not. He goes, no, I would have been happier if I wasn't going to get a hit. I would have been happier to hit the ball. But he's done a pretty good job of late as a pinch hitter. That was just a tough situation yesterday with going up there with already 2 strikes.
1 ball, 1 strike. Cardinals down to their final hope here in Joe Thurston. Schumaker on deck. Schumaker with a couple of base hits. And let's hope that Joe can certainly extend this game. Keep this going just a little bit longer. You fight off some pitches.
That's it.
Try to extend it.
1 pitch could be the difference of a 2-2 tie or a 2-1 victory. And
And 1-2, crowd comes alive. And that's it. The Marlins win on that 98-mile-an-hour fastball. Called third strike. And Thurston strikes out Ugla, the 2-run homer. The difference in this ball game back in the top of the 6th. The Marlins take game 2. And the postgame show is coming up.